All right, I'd like to call Instruction Committee to order. First item on the agenda is approval of the August 18th minutes.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next thing on the list is the list of field trips for review. I don't know if anyone has any questions about them all.
Point of order, Mr. Chair, there's chatter going on and disrupting the meeting.
Any discussion on the field trips? Everyone good on that? No, just for review. Next item, and this is going to be quick. Let's see, 5-year plan, same thing that was with
You're
the,
going to bring it up under other?
What?
There was a concern about field trips, and I didn't know if it was going to be brought up under other or if we wanted to discuss it at this time.
we can.
Yeah, discuss it.
Okay. There was a question that was raised by a parent about volunteers who go on field trips, chaperones, whether or not they've been fingerprinted. And so I just wanted to go through and share that information because it was something that was sent, I believe, to a couple board members. Okay, so if somebody's considered a casual volunteer, that means they're a one-time volunteer, maybe less than 4 times a year, say. And they go on a field trip and they're supervised. Those people do not get fingerprinted. So they're not alone with kids, and it's like a one-time kind of field trip. Then the other designation is a designated volunteer. A designated volunteer is somebody who volunteers throughout the school year on multiple occasions and may or may not be unsupervised at some point. They are fully vetted and fully fingerprinted. I was asked to look into what other districts provide. It's pretty standard that most districts have the casual and the designated. Portsmouth and Hampton do, but then there are other districts that fingerprint everybody across the board.
Great. And is the fingerprinting done at their expense?
No, Rochester School District pays for the fingerprinting.
Okay. And at what point in the year, is it at the beginning of the year that you know who is interested in being a designated volunteer versus a casual volunteer? Is it put out there to the school community?
So if there was like a field trip that wasn't planned in September, sometimes the field trip an opportunity might come up, so we wouldn't know about the field trip until April.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Or I guess I'm looking for the procedure. What's the procedure when, for elementary school, do they put something out to families at the beginning of the year? If you think you're going to want to volunteer in the classroom or on field trips, here's, please let us know so we can arrange for fingerprinting, background checks.
Well, no, because we don't fingerprint our casual volunteers. If somebody was a designated volunteer, that would be known. The administration would know that person is in their building multiple times a week or throughout the school year. When somebody's a casual volunteer, they say, I would like to chaperone that field trip that's coming up.
But they're not left alone with kids.
Correct.
And they're supervised or with a staff member while they're with kids.
Right, so say we're gonna go to the Science Center. We all get on the bus together, we all get off the bus together, we all go into the Science Center together, and we get back on the bus.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. I'm the chair.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was looking at there. I think the problem is you get fingerprinted and next week you do something wrong and your fingerprint comes back all right. And I think fingerprinting is really backed up right now as well. So even if, my husband just got fingerprinted for a football team and it hasn't even come through, and they played 3 games. So, you know what I mean? I think you can fingerprint, but then do you fingerprint every year if they come back? I think it's,
When fingerprinting came up at the legislature and the major from the state troopers testified, he reminded us that they're only good for the moment they're done.
yeah.
And he wasn't really in favor of us passing massive fingerprinting laws, but nobody would stand up and say, well, I want to pull that legislation out. So the Department of Safety has ordered 10 more fingerprint machines, but they can't get them. It's a supply chain problem. But I think once they get them, fingerprinting will move along faster.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to present, I'm not proposing anything.
No.
I'm letting the information be known that policy GBCD explains our criminal history and background checks, that a casual volunteer is permitted to attend a field trip without being fingerprinted. And then according to our policy, if you're gonna be unsupervised or on a regular basis, you do get fingerprinted. We have a designated volunteer and a casual. So I just wanted to present the information because it was asked.
Can I ask a quick question? Let's say me being a teacher in another district, I've been fingerprinted. Does that count for Rochester, or would Rochester require me to be fingerprinted again if I was a designated?
Do we trust you?
I would imagine that Rochester would need to know themselves.
I don't know if I can answer that question right now, and I wouldn't want to give wrong information, so I can find out. But I'm under the impression that when you're a designated volunteer for Rochester, we fingerprint you.
That would be my assumption.
Yes,
but
we fingerprint the person.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody's ever said, hey, I've been fingerprinted before, can I just get, no, yeah.
Okay.
So if somebody,
Oh, go ahead.
okay, if somebody were to contact you and say, so-and-so is going to be a chaperone and I have concerns about so-and-so, do we have it in our policy where we can ask somebody to be fingerprinted if we need to? What would we do then?
So a parent calls and says, I'm concerned that this person's chaperoning the trip?
Yeah, I feel like
guess that would
they've,
be our due responsibility to look into that situation.
Correct.
And make sure that they're safe.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure, because, I mean, I would think that if there is a concern about somebody chaperoning, we do have a way to say, we're gonna ask you to do fingerprinting or background check or something to that effect.
Certainly.
Okay.
Any other discussion about fingerprinting?
No, I have a friend who's a director in a childcare facility, and she had to do fingerprinting 3 different times within a week to one, visit her child's school, be assisting in her child's school for her childcare business, and for a volunteer position in the community that she was doing 3 different times, same fingerprints, but 3 different agencies oversee. So it's not unusual anymore for everybody to be asked to be fingerprinted.
Same person?
Yep,
Could they just put it on the paper 3 times?
because the school thing is through the DOE, the childcare thing is through HHS. And I don't remember what the other volunteer agency she was working in, but they had to have their own done.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
get their own records.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that happens. Any other issues or questions on that? The 5-year plan, just like the other committees, we're going to be reviewing that material next week, right? At our 5-year
Monday.
plan.
Yeah, and then next.
And then we'll come back with looking at the list from the community, from the committee, and prioritizing everything there. So, any questions on the 5-year? Seeing none. Any public comment, Mr. Coates? Any questions on the committee? Any other? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
So, sorry.
Okay, all those in favor?
Bye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.